we're going to start the first chapter in geography, that is India, size and location. In this chapter, we're going to talk about India's size and location on the Earth's surface. We're also going to talk about how is it located on the Earth's surface, its neighboring countries. We're going to talk about the latitude, the longitude, equator, the prime meridian, the standard meridian. All these things will be included in this chapter. That's what we're going to discuss here. Let me give you a small example. Whenever you have to go ahead and fill up a form, you have to put in your address. You mention, say, A wing, room number 5, building number, say, 5, or building number 7, Pushparaj Society, that is in Malad West, right? And then it would be Mumbai, and then you would mention the pin code, right? That is what comprises of your address. You're putting the exact location where are you located in Mumbai. In the same manner, there is a location that is fixed on the globe or the Earth's surface for India too. Now, when it comes to India, India is one of the important countries which has progressed in the past 5 decades. It has progressed in various areas, let it be economic growth, let it be technological growth, or let it be agricultural growth. All these comprises of growth in the Indian infrastructure or the Indian development of the country. Now, it also has strong geographical and historical links with its neighboring countries, and it has contributed significantly to make the world history. Let's talk about India's location. Now, India lies in the northern hemisphere. Its mainland extends between the latitudes 8 degrees 4 inches north and 37 degrees 6 inches north. And the longitude is 68 degrees 7 inches east and 97 degrees 25 inches east. Now, then there is the Tropic of Cancer, which lies at 23 degrees 30 inches north, that divides the country into 2 equal halves or 2 equal parts. To the southeast of the country lies the Andaman and the Nicobar Islands in the Bay of Bengal. And to the southwest is the mainland, where there is the mainland. You have the Latitude Islands in the Arabian Sea. Okay. Now let's discuss in detail the neighboring countries. As we have already discussed, India has an important position in the South Asia, and currently there are 29 states and 7 union territories in existence in India. Its capital being Delhi, but it also shares its boundary with a couple of countries. I'll give you a tip to go ahead and remember the say direction along with the countries. Okay, we're gonna learn it as PAN. Like the Pan-India presence, any company who has a presence throughout India is known as a Pan-India presence. So remember as PAN or your PAN card number. Okay. Then we're going to talk about CNBN. That is, remember the news channel CBN. Okay. Remember that as CNBN. Then you are also aware about the degree MBA. Remember that as MBE. Okay. Now let's come down to the first one. That is PAN. Okay. Now, let's break it down as Pakistan, Afghanistan in the north. Okay, that is PAN. Now let's come down to the next one. That is CNBN. That is China, Nepal, and Bhutan in the north. Now let's come down to Myanmar and Bangladesh in the east. So MBE. Let's come down to the first one. That is PAN. So that is Pakistan, Afghanistan. That is in the north. West. You can also add a W in the end, that is PAN W, and CNBN is China, Nepal, Bhutan in the north, and MBE is Myanmar, Bangladesh in the east. And we have also mentioned what is there on the southeast. It is the Andaman and the Nicobar Islands in the Bay of Bengal. In the southwest, it is the Latitude Islands in the Arabian Sea. Now, our southern neighbors across the sea is basically 2 island countries, that is the Sri Lanka and the Maldives. Sri Lanka is separated from India by a narrow channel of sea, formed by the Park Strait and the Gulf of Mannar. We have very good relations with Sri Lanka and Maldives. Hello everyone. Today we're going to start with the first chapter in geography, India, size and location. When we look at ourselves, we try to find our height, weight, or probably where do we stay. So in simpler terms, we are trying to find out with the height and weight, we are trying to find out your body shape or your body type, how much is your height or how much is your weight or how much is your age. When we look at our address, we are trying to find out where do we stay or what is our location. In the same manner, we're going to talk about India's size and location in this chapter. Now, coming down to India. India has one of the ancient civilizations in the world. In the past 5 decades, India has developed in various aspects. It has developed in the terms of technology, in the terms of industrial development and economic development. Also, we cannot forget the educational development. Now, it also has geographical and historical links with these neighboring countries, and it has also contributed significantly in the making of world history. Now, let's talk about location. If we're talking about your location or my location, we can easily put it down as A Wing, room number 7, building number 8, Pushparaj Society, Malad West, Mumbai, and then follows the pin code. So what are we doing here? We're trying to give anyone rather a location where any person can find us. In the same manner, India has its own location, a location on the Earth's surface. So let's understand what is the location of India on the Earth's surface. It lies in the northern hemisphere. Its mainland extends between the latitudes of 8 degrees 4 inches north and 37 degrees 6 inches north. Its longitude is 68 degrees 7 inches east and 97 degrees 25 inches east. The Tropic of Cancer divides the country into 2 equal parts or 2 equal halves. On the southeast is the Andaman and the Nicobar Islands, that is in the Bay of Bengal. The southwest you find the Lakshadweep Islands, that is in the Arabian Sea. Let's talk about India's neighbors. The same manner that we have neighbors, even India has neighbors. It has an important position in the South Asia. It comprises of 29 states and 7 union territories. Now let's talk about its boundaries, or let's talk about the neighboring countries. Let's start off with Northwest. Remember as PAN W. PAN is any company has a pan-India existence, means that a company exists or industry exists throughout India. That is why it is called as Pan-India. So we're going to remember it as Pan W. So Pan W, let's break it up. P stands for Pakistan, A stands for Afghanistan, and NW is basically Northwest. Now let's come down to CNBN. You remember the news channel CNB over here. When we have neighbors, in the same manner, India also has neighbors. So India shares its land boundaries with other countries. That's why they become our neighbors. Let's come down and understand which of these countries are our neighboring countries. So there are 3 words that you're gonna remember to remember these neighboring countries. We're gonna remember them as Pan W, then it is the CNBN and MBE. Okay, let's come down to Pan W. Break it up as PANW. P stands for Pakistan, A stands for Afghanistan, and NW is the direction northwest. The second one we're gonna talk about is the CNBN. Over here, C stands for China, N stands for Nepal, B stands for Bhutan, and N stands for the direction that is the north. We're gonna remember Pan W as any company that has a Pan-India presence, or someone who a company that has its branches throughout the country. We're gonna remember CNBN as a news channel, that is CNBC. Then the third one is MBE. Remember the MBA program? Remember that as MBE. E stands for East, and MBE is Myanmar, Bangladesh is on its east. So we're going to remember its neighboring countries as PAN-W, CNBN, and MBE. Now, our southern neighbors across the sea are two island countries, that is Sri Lanka and Maldives. And Sri Lanka is separated from India by a narrow sea channel that is formed by the Park Strait and the Gulf of Mannar. Now, next we're going to understand the latitude, longitudes, Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn, the equator, and the prime meridian. Okay. All these will help us to understand India's location on the Earth's surface, or to be put it simpler, you can understand the Earth's location on a globe. Now, as we all know, or there's basically a globe, a circle, a ball that is slightly flattened at the poles, because of which it is known as geoid, that is Geoid. Now, let's understand Earth through a globe. Take any ball and you put a needle onto it. When you put a needle onto it, on any location, wherever you find, this should be the North Pole. You draw a line straight from the North Pole to the South Pole. That is how you understand the North Point and the South Pole. Okay. Now, if you try to draw a line, that would be horizontal. Now the North Pole and the South Pole will always be vertical. But the line that is horizontal will always mark the East and the West Pole. Now, let's go ahead and understand the equator and the Tropic of Cancer, the latitude, the longitude, the prime meridian. Now, any line that is drawn from the North Pole towards the South Pole at 0 degree and passes through the Greenwich about the English obligate services. Now, this is what is known as the prime meridian. Now, anything that passes from the east to west, that is a horizontal line, and at 0 degree is basically the equator. The line opposite to the prime meridian is the international date line. Now, we also going to talk about the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. When at the Tropic of Cancer, there is a parallel latitude. It is 23 degrees 26 inches north, then it is Tropic of Cancer. If it lies in the south, it is the Tropic of Capricorn. Now, let's understand what is the latitude. Latitude means nothing but just the angular distance between the north or the south. Now, the longitude. Longitude is a distance in degrees, that is east or west of the prime meridian that is at 0 degree. Prime meridian is basically 0 degree. Now, let's understand latitude and longitude in detail. Let's understand latitude in a layman terms. As I've already mentioned, the globe or the Earth's surface can be divided into two equal halves. We have already drawn a line from the North Pole to the South Pole at 0 degree, that is the prime meridian. Now, this divides the globe into two equal halves, that is the east and the west. Okay. Now, if we take another horizontal line that will be again at 0 degree, dividing the Earth's surface or the Earth into two equal halves, it will be again divided into the north and the south. The horizontal line is nothing but the equator, and the vertical line is nothing but the prime meridian. As I've already mentioned, latitude you can remember as something that is leti. Leti, the word means in Hindi as someone that is sleeping. So basically these are sleeping lines. So a parallel line that is across the equator is nothing but the latitudes. So latitudes is the angular distance between the north and the south from the equator. Okay. Now, longitude is basically divided through the prime meridian into two equal halves. They let us know how far is the location on the east or the west of the prime meridian. Now, the question that you might be thinking, what is the prime meridian? As I have already discussed, prime meridian is a line that runs vertically from the north to the south, right over the British Royal Observatory in Greenwich, England. Now, this is what is the prime meridian. It runs from the North Pole to the South Pole. The vertical longitude is also known as the vertical longitude. Something that is vertical, that is standing, is also known as the meridian. They actually converge at the poles. They come together at the poles and they wider at the equator. They are about 69 miles or 111 kilometers apart. The parallel of latitude towards the north at 23 degrees and 26 inches north is known as the Tropic of Cancer. And when it comes to the south, at the same degree and the same inches, it is known as the Tropic of Capricorn. The Tropic of Cancer is also known as the Northern Tropic, and it is mostly the northerly circle of the latitude on the earth, at which the sun is at its highest peak. Let's understand India's size now. The landmass of India has an area of 3.28 million square kilometer. India's total area on the geographical area of the world is basically just 2.4%. And it is also the 7th largest country of the world. The land boundary is approximately 15,200 kilometers. The total length of the coastline of the mainland, including the Andaman and the Nicobar and Lakshadweep, is 7,516.6 kilometers. We have many mountains on the northwest, north and northeast.
Choose the right kindergarten, a right bag, and matching bottle to go with. The right school, the right friends. Choose the right subjects and score well. Be an expert in all. The right teacher, and make sure that they like you. Choose the right timing, the right bus, and take a cab if getting late. The right train, and don't stand near the gates. Mind the pockets. Better get into ladies' compartment. And make sure your mustache hasn't started coming. Choose the right study time and forget games, IPL, IHL, rock and metal, guitar, axe. The right group, and be a model to your brother. Seriously. Choose the right syllabus, the right test paper. Keep guessing questions for exams. Choose the right branch, the right college, the right stream. Choose the right career. Lucky to have a father's business to take care of and a father to allow that. The right counselor, the right form, and make sure the project is submitted on time. Choose the right website and rely on your friends for more information. Oblivious of the sites they have been to, there is no end to your woes. Getting better with every step you climb up the ladder. The summer vacation shorter, the bucket list bigger, the night darker, the books heavier. The only light you have is your friends ahead of you. Probably he is right. Ever thought how he got the direction? No more spending your energy and money on coaching classes. No more missing classes for rain, rally, and nonsense. Get your interest back in subjects through our creative ways of teaching. Doubts, concepts, applications, all explained through one vibrant animation. Subjects covered by multiple teachers with repeat telecasts. Special programs only for basic foundation and paper analysis. Personality development, career counseling, admissions, hobbies, all covered. A new approach to study with long-term perspective. So sit back comfortably in your homes and watch Study Spectrum TV channel.
Let's talk about India's size. India's landmass is 3.28 million square kilometer. The total area on the in comparison to the geographical area of the world is just 2.8%. It is 7th largest country of the world. Now let's look at the land boundary. It has a land boundary of 15,200 kilometers. The total length of the coastline, if we have to include all the islands, that is the Andaman, Nicobar and the Lakshadweep islands, is 7,516.6 kilometers. We have many mountains on the northwest, north and the northeast. In simpler terms, we're gonna understand the Arabian Sea, Bay of Bengal. Where is it located? In this, you have to remember is all that is AW. You use that as an expression whenever you are basically posting something on a WhatsApp or Facebook. You put that word or. So remember AWW. So remember that as AW. A stands for Arabian Sea, and that is on the west. Now you must have seen a honeybee, right? So remember that BE stands for Bay of Bengal on the east. From now, let's look at the time. Before we understand time, we're gonna understand the standard meridian first. There is a meridian that is used for understanding a standard time of any country. So any any longitude that is divisible by 15 degrees is the standard meridian of the country. Now there is a time lag between Gujarat and Arunachal Pradesh. In Gujarat, the sun rises 2 hours earlier, and in Arunachal Pradesh, it rises 2 hours later. So there is a time difference. Now, this standard meridian is basically a line that passes through Mirzapur. The line this passes through Mirzapur because of it that is considered as a standard meridian. Now, that being considered as the standard meridian, so everywhere throughout the country, all the watches are set to a standard time. So whenever we are trying to set a time on our mobile phones or a laptop, we consider as GMT plus 5 hours 30 minutes. That is considered as the standard time everywhere across the country. Now let's talk about India and the world. How are we related to the world, or probably how do the kind of relations that we have across the country, with the other countries, and in comparison. Let's understand India's relations with other countries. India is a country that is centrally located between the East and West Asia. The southwest extension of the Asian continent. If we see, the Asian continent is basically extended, and that is how India is formed. The Trans-Indian Ocean, which connects the countries of Europe in the west, the countries of East Asia. Now, the countries of East Asia, it provides a strategic central location to India. There is a Deccan Plateau, or the Deccan Peninsula, which protrudes into the Indian Ocean, which also helps us to go ahead and establish trade and industry with other countries. And it also helps us to go ahead and get a close contact with other countries of the West Asia and the Europe. Now, India also has a longer coastline as compared to any country in the world. And that is why the Indian Ocean is named after India, just because it has a longer coastline. India's eminent position on the Indian Ocean actually helps us in major things. It also helps us to go ahead and conduct those trades with other countries. These sea routes helped us to go ahead and exchange the ideas and exchange the products and the services of the countries. There are things that are mentioned in the Upanishads and the Panchatantra or the Ramayana. There are stories that says that the Indian numerals or the decimal system could reach many parts of the world just because of these sea routes that were existent in the ancient India as well. Then, the same way that Indian culture was actually transported to other areas or other countries, in the same manner, the Greek culture can be seen in India. Then there are architectural styles that came into India with the incoming or with the foreigners coming into the country. Now let's quickly revise the whole chapter in a gist. When we spoke about the latitude, the longitude, the prime meridian, the standard meridian, we also spoke about the India's neighboring countries, the seas that are closer to the country. We spoke about the islands that are also a part of the country. We spoke about the states and the union territories. Now let's quickly revise the whole chapter. India lies in the northern hemisphere. What is the latitude? 8 degrees 4 inches north, 37 degrees 6 inches north. That's the latitude. What is the longitude? 68 degrees 7 inches east and 97 degrees 25 inches east. It is the seventh largest country, second largest population in comparison to China. You have to remember the two seas in India, that is, we remember that as O, and the Bay of Bengal, that is BE, that is bee, honeybee. So O is basically Arabian Sea in the west, and B, that is honeybee, is basically Bay of Bengal on the east. It has 29 states and 7 union territories. Now, Sri Lanka is separated from India because of the sea formed, or a channel that is formed by the Park Strait, and the Gulf of Mannar. Now, there are other countries that India shares its boundaries with. We have also mentioned that earlier, we have discussed that in the chapter earlier. We're going to remember that as PAN-W, CNBN, and MBE. PAN-W is a pan-India presence of any company. We're going to remember that as Pakistan, Afghanistan on its northwest, and W stands for direction. We remember the channel CNBC. We're going to remember the clue as CNBN, that is China, Nepal, Bhutan in the north direction. Then we know the study program, that is MBA, Masters in Business Administration. We're going to remember that as MBE, that is Myanmar and Bangladesh in the east. We have discussed the longitude, latitude, and the standard meridian. Longitude is the distance in degrees, that is east or west of the prime meridian, that is at 0 degree, measured by the angle between the plane of prime meridian and that of the meridian through the point in question. Now, what is a latitude? Angular distance north-south from the equator. Equator, it is a horizontal line exactly at 0 degrees, and prime meridian is a vertical line from the north to the south exactly at 0 degree. Now, let's talk about the standard meridian. The meridian used for understanding a standard time throughout the whole country. Now, throughout the world, most of the world, every country has different standard times. In Russia, there are 15 different standard times, or the standard meridian. In India, it is taken as GMT plus 530 everywhere. The standard meridians are nothing but just the longitudes that are divisible by 15. Now, let us quickly revise or understand the questions that are mentioned in your textbook. The first question is, name the group of islands that are lying in the Arabian Sea. Hello everyone. Today we're going to start off with the first chapter in geography, India, size and location. Talking about India, India has the ancient civilization in the whole world. We had the famous Mohenjo-daro and the Harappan civilization. We had the Aryans, we had the Kshatriyas in India into that era. We had the famous universities like the Nalanda and Takshashila universities. Till date, India is still famous for its medicinal practice, that is the Ayurveda, which doesn't have any side effects as compared to any allopathy. India also has a famous exercise or a stream of exercise known as the yoga. We recently celebrated the International Yoga Day. In the same manner, there are many civilizations that were into existence into that era or different eras in history. Talking about different places, let me give you an example of a Somnath temple. The Somnath temple was invaded by the Mongolians for 17 times, and every time it was invaded, it was rebuilt by gold. India was such a rich country. Britishers invaded India. When Britishers invaded India, they found the Silk Route. They found the indigo that was required. They used to transport indigo from India to their country, where the indigo was a main color. India also has the two famous epics, the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. Britishers initially came to India. They formed the East India Company. Slowly and steadily, they started spreading their roots, they started spreading their territories, and thereafter, India exchanged hands right from East India Company, and they were reigned by the British government. So, in simpler terms, India has contributed significantly in making the world history. Let's come down to the location now. If we look at our location, we have an address that is mentioned, say a wing, a flat number, then a society name, then the location or the city, then comes location, then you get the city and then the pin code. In the same manner, India has a location on the earth or on the globe. It lies in the northern hemisphere. Its mainland extends between the latitudes of 8 degrees and 4 inches north and 37 degrees 6 inches north. Now, let's come down to 8 degrees 4 inches north. It is hotter in Chennai because it is closer to the equator. But if we look at Jammu and Kashmir, it lies at 37 degrees 6 inches north, and that's why Jammu and Kashmir is pretty cold. The longitudes is 68 degrees 7 inches east and 97 degrees 25 inches east.